All right, Andy, we're coming to our conclusion of our lesson here. You made some really good progress. The first thing we worked on was your stance. At first, it looked like you were a little bit narrow with the stance, so I told you to open it up, get it shoulder width apart. And that really helped the takeaway there, and it also helped your lower body movement the most. It eliminated your lateral movement, which you were struggling with a narrow stance. With the wider stance, you were able to kind of use more of the upper body to take away, or not use too much of the lower body is more what you're going for. If you have any questions or comments about the stance or the width of the stance?
Just a couple comments. As you said, with the wider stance, I was trying to do everything with my upper body. It felt like, with the narrow stance, and I didn't even realize it, obviously, as I've been doing it for so long. But definitely getting the shoulder width apart, it definitely felt like it was more of a smooth one swing than a bunch of parts moving all at one time. You know what I'm saying? It enabled me to swing on plane a little bit better.
I see.
I would say.
The other thing we worked on was the takeaway of the golf club. One thing that I saw, it looked like you were kind of yanking it inside too often, or too quick too often, which you would overcompensate, and then you would just come over the top there, and that's where you would struggle with your ball flight, where the ball would start left and stay left, or start left and curve left, or even have a really big slice. So one thing we worked on there was with the alignment stick, as we had it on the ground behind the golf club, and you trace the alignment stick with the head of the club, making sure that when the club was parallel, the club face was at your hands or just inside. This will help with everything. It'll take care of everything in the top of the backswing. I feel starting out with a stable backswing to parallel will definitely help out with keeping the club on plane as you go back, and even keeping it on plane as you come through with the golf club. So if you have any questions or comments with that as well, I'd love to hear them.
No, just it's very similar to the stance thing, the takeaway. They kind of go hand in hand. Have a little wider stance, I can focus a little bit more on getting, that right plane as to coming inside like I always do. It just felt so comfortable coming inside all the time, and compensating at the top and coming through. But now, like you said, once I started on the right plane, especially with the swing stick behind, being able to see the straight line, everything up here kind of takes care for itself, with that swing. So that's kind of what it felt like when we were doing it.
Yeah, so you made a lot of improvements, a lot of drastic improvements with the ball flight. You're starting to hit what we call correct fades. The ball would start just left the target, and it would curve right back on target. So I think if we work on both the stance and the takeaway position, or the takeaway of the golf club at first in this first lesson, I think if you keep on working at those things, we'll be able to, it'll serve you better for our next lesson. In our next lesson, I think we'll work more on contact with the ground. It could have been just because you're learning new stuff, but you had some where you hit fat, and you had some where you hit thin or chunky and too thin. But yeah, I think if we work on these two things, it'll serve you so much better for our next lesson. And then our next lesson, we can work on some different things and improve this golf game of yours.
Yeah, that sounds great, man.
So we'll see you next lesson. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.